it. Where are you, Becca?
Another message left on her voicemail. Then on my third call, I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than to wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zach, on the other hand, that guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca, out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay, at the very least, whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking for is not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things. Rational or irrational, it doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger. And I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers. Or his voicemail, at least.
Hey, it's Zach. Well, a voicemail anyway. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah? And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around. Thanks.
Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he's forgotten to charge it? Can't be. That guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout even more than I am as a cop. He's the type who has an extra battery or a power bank in his bag if he ever needs it. And he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got quite a roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. Zach is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
His mobile in an out-of-range area sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said. And even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to... Well, I can't be rash. I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I'm certain my reaction won't be pretty. The added guilt from those times I've repeatedly dismissed him will surely haunt me.
Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe, though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good.
If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Zach's the one who puts up with me the most, even when he doesn't need to. It's not a case of a cool cop who helped out a minority. In truth, I was a hard-headed, hot-tempered, and reckless rookie. Up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie. But I've grown, thanks to him. He tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impressions went, I'm lucky he stuck around. Becca and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach, he's probably the closest thing I'll call to a best friend. Though it's more than that. A camaraderie. No words can express. He has my back, and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having. Only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Becca's neighbor did say she went out to meet someone. No specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Regardless, I continued dialing his phone another 3 times like I've done with Rebecca's. In the end, after the 3rd attempt with no one answering, I stop and move to cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is then.
I've been trained for those. Heck, I'm used to them. Just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with the anxious strings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. That's exactly when the line finally connects. Before he even speaks, my question has already slipped out, including every pent-up worry and tension in my body.
Where are you?
The line's choppy, though I can still make out the words he's saying. Nothing to worry about then. He's just someplace where network coverage is crappy. Can't imagine where at this time of the morning, though. Did he go out for a jog?
What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that? Signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of shithole did you get into?
I meant that to sound as friendly as possible to keep things light, at least. Instead, only the frustration shows in my tone.
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you. I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer that?
Why are you even...
Please don't tell me that's his plan. A morning visit to the mansion where Luke Wright is? Of all the pig-headed things to do right now, is the best thing he can come up with? Breaking and entering? I've got plenty of reasons to rail at him right now. Although, no matter how much I want to give him a piece of my mind, unfortunately it's not the time.
No, wait. Just get your ass to Isabella's place and hurry.
He pauses a moment, a second of indecision while he seems to contemplate his options.
How urgent is this?
In truth, the question, the hesitance, and the indecision in his voice has caught me completely off guard, and understanding dawns on me. His decision to go there isn't one born out of stupid impulse. He must have found something. However, no matter how urgent it is, he still shouldn't have gone there. Alone, at that. Despite myself, in that split second of comprehension, I allow it to show. A weakness. A simple request brimming with every unease and disquiet causing turmoil within me since last night. It bears a selfish hope that he'll understand, even through the unstable signal that whatever's keeping him there, he'll be willing to set it aside for now.
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here. Please, Zach.
Silence fills the other end of the line again. For a moment, I assume he won't heed it, and I'll have to drive there myself just to drag him away from whatever danger he's skirting. Thankfully, he agrees.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or 2 tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
Relief washes over me as soon as the call ends. Normally, I don't let myself a moment of respite in times like this. Gotta stay alert. Rebecca's still out there. Has yet to return any of my messages. But for the moment, I relish in it. This is probably the first time I've permitted myself to do so since last night. Even the muscles in my shoulders have been complaining from all the tension I've taken on. It still annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxburn and Anslem isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's too big a place for one person to go searching for only 2 people. I'll be lucky if I even catch the hair of either of them. With one last hopeful glance towards the open skies, I slip back into Isabella's apartment and close the door behind me. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. More so when it's the people you care about.
You're up early. I thought you left.
This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this. Standing casually by her kitchenette, a ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's stewing on the stove while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, it has become a common sight after the 3 of them, including Zach and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner or lunch instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way. Healthier, she claims. Zach's just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. Isabella, on the other hand, as long as there's food, she's happy. Me? I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. Easier times. Good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy. A strange fit with all of the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose. Isabella doesn't follow up on her question earlier, but she does raise an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response and a short answer.
I've checked with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
I'll add in a quip or two for her if the timing for a joke isn't off or doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either. There's no reason to. Yet. Until Zach gets here or until I've received an answer from Rebecca, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in the subtle crease between her eyebrows and the inquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hands in the couch's direction.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Stop hovering! You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
She leaves no room for argument by swatting the ladle at me. And just like that, I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to her tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts. The ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I've built around them so I won't have to think. One by one, they trickle back into my consciousness, each more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on. So many things happening. The papers we've gotten from BRC doesn't provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there even a point to those after last night? What will asking those people do? If anything, this only proved there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess?
Ashton.
Dang it. I haven't felt this kind of bone-weary exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca. Zach. Isabella.
They're all depending on me and...
Ash!
The voice snaps me out of my thoughts. A abruptly wiping away everything running a racket inside my head. Suddenly, Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I've bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like I've fainted or something. The crease on her eyebrows grow deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me, without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad news.
Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment, she seems to accept that. Quietly, she shifts, stands up, and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. Then the next thing I know, she's gently pushing a bowl in my hands. The scent reaches me first before I've gotten a chance to take in what she has just handed me. Faint, sweet smell of coca wafts from the dish. Calming, comforting, despite the multitude of things bothering me. It certainly smells like the kind of food you'll eat on a rainy day. Though from the get-go, it doesn't look as appetizing. What is this even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it? And milk drizzled on top? She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is, handing me something equally as strange. In fact, she has already started digging in hers. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her way. She offers no immediate answer, simply continues eating as if she hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. She's not watching, however, just listening. As a background noise, the voices from it seems too cheerful. Welcome distraction, if anything. It's only after she has finished half of the bowl does she acknowledge the question in my eyes. With a sigh, she cradles the dish on her lap and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips part, then closes. A hesitation, though I don't push her. There's a distant air on her, as if she has remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's in a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet sincerity underlies each syllable once they're out in the open.
You should eat. Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried. So eat. You'll need it.
She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has proffered not a few moments ago. Warm against my hands, tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will this do? Zach and Rebecca's both out there. Who knows when that ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams, we're not safe. But that's it, isn't it? We don't know when. And at present, we have a chance at respite. Maybe the only one we'll have. Even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us. Quietly, just sitting side by side like this, without exchanging any words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air. Something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still, in the end, Isabella's never pushes it. Rather, she lets her own silence convey her hope. Whether I'll allow myself that break, she leaves it up to me. Take her offer, or I'm not hungry.
Take her offer.
Thank you.
The words roll off my tongue, awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from those jests and quips we've shared. Yet she accepts this with a smile and nothing more. Regardless of everything left unsaid, the sight of it brings comfort. More so than any generous offer of food can give. Though we both lapse into silence after. As we finish our food, there's ease in it. And this, and the muffled sounds of Luxburn filtering into the room. Kind of forgot. I'm sure it's... yeah. I don't know why it'd go down if you decided, you know. And the light streaming from her windows, and the faint draft occasionally drifting in, catching the loose tendrils of her hair. And the way her voice falters when she tries to form words. And despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to slow, for the seconds to last. But ultimately, she's the one who breaks it. Softly, after a minute's pause, and words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes silence simply compels us to speak.
I've been wondering, you know, before last night, before Mama told me the news, what if Papa passes away, despite everything? That sort of thing. I know it's not good to think about, but I also knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day, he'll eventually...
She releases a sigh as her grip on the bowl she still holds tightens. There are no tears, but she might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there even any left?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can easily say it's because of Papa. Now, I don't have anything.
You have that scholarship from Lux U.
Were you going through my personal papers while I was sleeping last night?
I don't really have to. You left it sitting in the open, right there on the table.
Like there's still anything to hide, she snatches it away from where I've placed it back earlier. Except there's no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it, and rereads every line with a pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly along the creases and sets it back.
I don't even know if this will work out.
Well, if it doesn't, what about that exhibit you've been planning with Zach?
Do I even have to ask where you got that?
Zach sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all in his face when I asked about it. And anyway, if that doesn't pan out too.
I trail off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Genuine as they are, a part of me believes they're a burden, too heavy to impose on her. Because no matter how much I want her to stay, we are not what ties her here. It'll be selfish to ask that of her. More than anything, her family will always come first. I say it nevertheless, if only to let her know that no matter what her choice will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. I don't know why that looked weird. Mine most of all.
You have us.
He's blushing! Oh, the words startle her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. But before regret forces an apology upon my throat, her expression dissolves to something I can't quite place. Something distinctly softer, more tender, familiar, almost in the same manner she glanced at me years ago, that day at the bridge. However, I don't get the chance to figure out what it all means for her. All of a sudden, a knock breaks the moment, and just as fast, both our attention shifts towards the source. Before things can get awkward fast, I stand up to open the door while muttering some flimsy excuse in the process.
I'll get that. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
Really, I know we're in a pinch, but their timing can't get any worse. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I fling the door open, A whole chunk of the stone that has been stuck at the pit of my stomach simultaneously unseats itself. There in the hallway stands Zack, his hand raised, ready for another knock. Although he's not at his most presentable at the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washes over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in. The second his feet crosses the threshold, he scans the place.
Grudge.
Yeah. Eyeing what little he can see of the room from the doorway. When finds none of whatever he's looking for, he turns to me with a questioning look, one that has a hint of panic in it.
You said it was urgent. Did anything happen? Is it Becca? Bella?
Everyone's fine. Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning and hasn't answered any of my calls yet. But Isabella's...
I'm here, Zack. Morning.
His weight shifts at the same time the stiff line in his shoulders eases. Once Isabella walks up to us and welcomes him with a smile. He relaxes then, returns her greeting in kind, as soon as he has let out the breath he has been holding and the tension's finally off of his body.
So, nothing's wrong? Why'd you call me here for then?
My explanation can wait. He has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to Anselm alone, for some godforsaken reason, warrants a proper one. Ghosts or not, he's already been given a warning. It frustrates me to no end this might be the plan he mentioned the last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Hana, right? Somehow they've become friends, but that's not the issue here. Now, when there's a murderous ghost who might go after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zack made it here in one piece. By some dumb luck, he's all right. And this takes one off the list of people I need to worry about. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Heck, if that call didn't connect in that exact minute, there might have been a chance he won't be standing here. This is a blessing in itself. Though, first things first, some things still need to be discussed. You promised you won't do anything stupid. Or you're okay.
Top one.
You promised you won't do anything
Yeah.
stupid? Point out.
Yeah.
Specifically, the elephant in this room, and it's a dang big elephant considering the possible outcomes Zack's cute little plan might have resulted in. I might as well let off some steam first before we go to the heart of things.
Zack, we agreed you won't do anything stupid.
Really, Ashton? That's what you're gonna greet me with? No, what's up, Z-Man? I just biked through almost half of this city to get here. I could use some friendly greetings right now. An explanation would be good too if you can. You weren't very clear over the phone. And I made no such promises.
You said you're not going to do anything reckless. Your words, not mine. What you did is the exact opposite. And that's not the only problem here. Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering. And believe me, I won't be able to do anything if they do. Did that cross your mind? The whole 46-acre lot is a private property. Why were you even there?
I know, Ash. But the people in there might be in danger. You've seen how Hana's photos turned out. Besides, I was looking for you. Didn't I tell you that?
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned a plan with Isabella here. I assume that's where you guys went, since that's where she found the letter. Sorry, I was really at a dead end.
The logic in it stuns me into silence, to say the least. Then I remember his hesitance, the tone he has taken before agreeing to go here, and all at once my anger wanes. Partly this is my fault for keeping things vague. Can't keep berating him for assuming that, when I've only left him with vague answers. Still,
You could have called me.
I did.
I didn't receive any, and my phone was with me.
You kidding, right? I was at it the whole night.
the whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Back again to the tension-riddled one plaguing us. Zachary stares at me like I've grown another head. Then gradually he shifts his attention to Isabella. The expression in his eyes, questioning, asking for a confirmation. Like my word can't be trusted. Not that I'm holding it against him. I can't even believe the things coming out my mouth these past few hours. Meanwhile, Isabella stays quiet. Has been like that for quite some time. She looks like she wants to just disappear right now. Guilt, frustration, anger, fear, all flashes fleetingly across her face before it melts away under an expression of worry.
Please tell me he's joking. You were there?
No, we really didn't get any. Everything was quiet last night. But Zach, at BRC, Ashton and I saw...
She never gets to finish that.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City.
Abruptly, my
Back as
phone
one
rings
champ,
again,
can't beat me.
blaring
Looking
its
for
badly
trouble?
sang
Better not lie.
ringtone throughout
I'm a
the
cool
whole
dude,
room.
Pretty fine for an Asian guy.
Both of them
Sup, I'm Ash from
pauses,
Deluxe
waiting,
City.
when I
Back
pull
as
it
one
up
champ,
to
can't beat me.
to check
Looking for
call.
trouble? Better not
I
lie.
can't read!
I'm a cool dude, pretty fine for an Asian guy. Sup, I'm
When I
Ash from
pull it up
Deluxe
to check
City.
the caller
Back as one
ID.
champ,
It's
can't
Becca.
beat me. Looking for trouble?
I'll tell her to get
Better
here as
not
soon as she
lie.
can.
I'm
Excuse
a
me.
cool dude, pretty fine for an Asian guy.
Without another word, I slip out of the room and answer the call. However,